What's up, everybody? This is Beyond the Pipe with Chris and Sean. Today we have a special guest, Stefan Cashwell, on with us. Stefan is a great new carver that you need to know about. So, we're here to talk about him.
Do you like green chilies, Stefan?
You know, I do love green chilies.
Because today, on our premiere segment, Chris's Stuff, we're going to talk about green chilies for a little bit. And I'm going to tell you something. Some of the best marketing I have ever seen, I found about a month ago. There's this company called the Fresh Chili Co. They are not sponsors of us. I just really like these things. I'll show you the jar. This is my third jar in a month. Almost gone. This is the medium. Wow. And these are hatch chilies from New Mexico. And it's just, literally, there's nothing in this. It's roasted chilies, lime juice, salt, and garlic.
Sounds delicious. And
that's it. Like, everyone's familiar with, like, and the thing is, it's, like, in there. Like, you're not dumping this out, right?
Oh,
you have to. So here's where the marketing came in that I really enjoyed. In the video, and these guys did a great job with this, the guy has a jar of chilies, and he's eating this, like, huge, caveman-sized burrito. And he's sitting here just, like, doing one of these on the burrito. And he's just like, and, like, what he puts on is equivalent to, like, maybe, like, a fifth of the jar. Like, he's just, like, this blob of green chilies on this burrito, and he's like, he does the double bite action, where you don't, like, you see people, like, normal people take a bite of something, and then they put it away from their face. But then you have, like, the guys that, like, do, like, a bite of a burger, but then they'll go for, like, another bite in the same mouthful, and then sometimes they'll hit a third, and you're like, bro,
damn.
Like that must be a bomb ass burger, right? But he did this with the burrito. He's like, arr, and then arr, and I was like, holy shit! Like it was incredible. So I was like, I'm sold simply just because I want to do that to a burrito with this stuff. And so I got the mild. The mild's like good, The medium is what I consider to be mild. It's super mild. Like this, not really any heat. The hot, I haven't gone for the hot yet, but dude, this company, you guys got to check this out. Again, not sponsored at all. Go to freshchilico.com. I'm actually kind of impressed by how many SKUs they have. Like they have everything. They've got like, a jar of jalapenos, which I wouldn't go for. I would just go for the straight hatch chilies. They come in red or green, grown in New Mexico. I put this shit on everything. Oh, we're going AI again. Damn it.
Stop it. It's okay. Camera's just going to move.
I hate this camera, man. I put it on everything. In fact, there's other videos where there's like he's in a field of these chilies, and his dad, who's like older, he's like, Dad doesn't like the hot stuff, and his dad's sitting there going like on like a fresh chili, and I was like, I want to like hang out with you guys. Like this is awesome. You're just like pouring tons of peppers on like there's a burger one where he's like got this burger, empties half the jar on a burger, and I've been doing this. And you don't notice it. You know what it does? Like, here's my argument. I've said in the past, I hate mayo. I hate mayo to a level that I don't think anyone hates any condiment. Hate it. This is mayo. This is the moisture. I get it now. Like, mayo doesn't taste like anything. It adds moisture to food. That's what this does. It adds a moisture to something, and it's like, oh my God, it's so good. Anyway.
I'm a weirdo, and I like dipping tater tots in mayo. That's the correct
criminal.
You are vile, Sean.
Criminal.
I don't care.
You need to be on a watch list for that.
For dipping my tater tots in mayo.
Gravy, right, yes. Whatever. I'll even accept mustard. Mustard is okay in my book. You don't dip things in mayo. You put mayo on things and you hide it under other things.
We have a local drive-in burger joint that's been around since like the 60s. And that's what they always served was tater tots with mayo. I remember my dad telling me about that when he was a kid. That's just what you did.
That's what happens when you move way out to Montana, dude. No. People start thinking that's acceptable.
That's weird stuff.
Nope.
We got a whole festival on eating cow testicles called Rocky Mountain Oyster Fest.
That's different. I'm okay with this. That has a function. There's a functional reason for that. You know, when you're in the castration season, you just have a ton of balls everywhere, and something's got to happen to them. Humans are the only ones that'll eat them.
Yep.
Fry them and eat them. I get it. I get the bull testicle thing.
All right.
Dipping tater tots in mayo. You are
right, let's move on. Let's move on.
You're on thin ice right now, Sean.
Stefan, what are you smoking today, man? Tell us about that pipe. Tell us what leaf are you smoking?
Smoking a 63 Dunhill. Love this pipe. It's just awesome. Guy. Yeah, man. It's like, it's just so cool. The taper is like, I've studied this taper like so much. Perfect. It's just incredible.
That's how it should be.
And smoking some 90s Orlik Golden Sliced today in it. And
how dark is that stuff? Does it darken up quite a bit over time?
Yeah, show us.
Let's see. I've got it some. Let's see.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
That's dark.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
Dude, it's
that's awesome.
I'm so happy right now. Flake in that box of cask number 7 you're gonna send me, I wouldn't be upset.
Dude, that package is in my van, taped with your address, and it's been there for a month.
That's cool.
So
I'm smoking one of my sitting acorns. Love this pipe. And I cracked a tin of sixpence from 2015. And that stuff darkens up quite a bit with 10 years of age on it.
And the tin sixpence is like the most bulgy tin.
So good.
They ferment again. And I'm slumming it with 1Q in a purple Fat Man that I made.
Purple. All right.
Purple.
Let's go.
That's cool. As far as aromatics go, 1Q, it's just good.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, let's face it. Like, I don't want to have to fight to keep anything lit right now, so I just was like, yeah, we'll put in whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already having to relight it because we're talking too much, but
that's okay.
Stefan is a pipe maker, everyone, and he's a relatively new pipe maker at that. You know, but I'll let you introduce yourself, Stefan. Give us your background and kind of what your expertise is in, and kind of how you came to this very strange neck of the woods.
Yeah. So I'm a musician professionally. That's kind of what I do. Write songs and work at a church, and then just run like a corporate band lead for that. And so I just kind of have my musical eggs in a lot of baskets. But in 2020, when kind of COVID started doing its thing, I had a tour that was like, I was in the middle of it and was home on break for a couple days. And in that time, that's when lockdown like started. And I was like, I have nothing to do with my time. What am I going to do? And I had just bought a pipe as like celebration for this bus tour that I was doing. And I was like, well, God, I wish I could return this pipe and get the money back because I have none now. For the next 6 months, I was like looking at work. There was none. It was just everything got canceled.
Yeah.
And then I just started thinking, I mean, really naively, but I started thinking, man, I feel like I could maybe make a pipe. That sounds fun. Plus, this music thing is like, once your hobby becomes your job, like officially just like full time, it's a different thing. Like you lose a little bit of that like outlet.
Yeah.
It's so yeah, no, but there's just demands. It's great. I mean, as far as work goes, you know, to play music or make pipes is still pretty freaking awesome compared to going and sitting in a cubicle all day. But yeah, so I just was like, well, I guess I'll try and figure this out. So I bought the PMO book and read through that and crudely crafted my first pipe. And it was just playing around for a while. And I think really about like midway through 21, like towards the tail end of 21, I started like really trying to like make the thing
getting
kind of happen. Yeah.
And how long were you a pipe smoker before that?
Oh, I had been smoking a pipe probably since I was like 17, 18, somewhere around there. Probably 18. I would think. Cool. College. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
So about 4-ish years making pipes.
Yep.
And so I guess I wanted this conversation to be like in comparison, sort of like your experience over the last few years compared to like Chris has been making pipes damn near 20 years. I'm going on 12 years, and how different that may be. Like, how's your experience been? Like, has the community been? What's it like? Selling pipes for the first couple of years.
Do you
learning
regret
the ropes.
it yet?
Do you regret it yet?
Dude, no. The funny thing is I don't. Like, I find myself constantly wishing that I had more time actually to give to it, because I really freaking love it.
Good.
I love it a lot. So the very, very short answer is that my experience has been wonderful. Coming from music, it's an interesting thing, because there tends to be a certain attitude in music, and I'm not saying that it's not there in the pipe world. I haven't experienced it, but especially with music, it's like there's this attitude of like I am out to beat you in what we are doing. There is a very small world in which there is success in this industry, and everybody's just kind of eyeballing everyone else and trying to get ahead and do the next thing. And there's just not a ton of like really good and kind community. And so it feels isolating at times. But in the pipe world, really, for me personally, like when I started, I just kind of was met with open arms by pretty much everyone I encountered. Sean was one of the first people to do that. I mean, Sean messaged me very early, like answered some of my very first questions about making pipes. And like, it's just like, yeah, dude, call me. Like, what's up? Let's talk. And every step of the way, I feel like that's been my encounter. And I love the people in this little world of ours. It's just fascinating. Everybody's got some story or some history or something that just really, I find genuinely just so much fun. I love pipe people, man. So yeah,
that's been my experience over the last, over a decade now too, is everybody is a lot more open arms to you than you'd think.
Yeah.
Some are not. I mean, now. Yeah. Now. Okay. I like to help. I like to help new carvers. And I know Chris does too. And, I think the culture of pipe making from the community aspect has changed to be a lot more welcoming. When I first started, I mean, there was like a lot of secrets and, I can't tell you about this finish and all this kind of stuff. And, that's, looking back, I guess you could even say, well, there was a handful of people who were kind of misleading, not necessarily lying, but misleading, like, hey, you could do it this way, without telling you that you really could do it this way and it'd be easier
gatekeeping,
or better.
Basically.
Gatekeeping.
There were a lot of tallest midgets in the room, basically. Like, it was like, ooh, I'm somebody. And you're like, dude, you make stuff out of wood. Like, you're nobody. Like, there's ceramic artists that have gigantic million count followings. Like, there is not a pipe maker that I know of that has cracked 50,000.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think there is. I think smoking
when we're talking
pipes
like social media.
Yeah, like Instagram, like only. Like, I don't think there's another pipe maker. I'd be hard pressed to find someone that has 30. I have 20, and I think that's like a fantastically huge amount.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I'm not saying I have the most, because I don't know. Someone else could have a lot more, but like, there's that, damn, the AI keeps clicking on.
That's all right. Just leave it.
No, it's everyone's going to be throwing up watching me with the camera.
We're not cutting this out, so.
No, we don't. No edits here. But like, there's that dude in, where is he? The dude that does the carvings. He did like Gimli, and he did like, he's got a lot of followers.
In Ukraine?
No, that's Radon Labs. He's got a lot too, I think. But there's another dude, SVG Pipes. Is that it? I don't know. I forget.
I'm not sure.
But yeah, that guy.
Got a lot.
He's got a massive following, but that's more like a TikTok thing. Like, it's like he has a lot of people because he hit the TikTok trend, and people are like, "Oh my god, that's so cool!" And then you find out that it's like, a $7,000 pipe or something that no one wants to buy. Anyway,
I got banned from TikTok immediately for community standards violations since I had pipes.
I never even did. TikTok is garbage.
I got to, like, I think I hit whatever time TikTok came onto the scene. I was like, no, I can't go onto that one. I think Instagram was the last thing for me.
I'm too old for that shit.
I'm ready to age out.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. I was too old for this shit. And then I see all these older guys getting on there. I'm like, maybe I should. And then like, I got an account. I never posted anything. I just would kind of like consume it. I was like, this is straight up poison. Like, just, it's too easy. Like, Twitter's rough, but you still have to go through that extra step of like clicking on something if you really want to watch it. TikTok is just absolute trash for your brain.
Yes. Just scroll.
I deleted it. I had it for like 2 weeks and I deleted it. Just, I couldn't do anymore.
Yeah.
Now,
I had it for like a month, and then as soon as they banned me, I was like, well, screw this. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, anymore. And China's got all your info now, and like, who doesn't? But I find that Twitter is a lot more fun. And now I use it for news. Like, I'll hop on there and be like, yeah, what's happening around the world? And you'll find all the citizen journalists are on there. So whether you're looking for like left, right, center, news, whatever, world politics, like, it is on there. It happened it happened 5 minutes ago, yo.
Yep.
And they post it and you're like, and then I'll later the next day, my mom will be like, did you see what happened on the news last night? I was like, I had that news at 7 o'clock.
4 days ago.
Yeah, in the morning, 5 minutes after it happened. Like, Anyway,
we need to make pipe makers more relevant on Twitter to where we're all like, oh, 5 minutes ago, Stefan posted this snail that's amazing. Did you see that? Yep, old news. Already saw it.
It's just a more fun place, I think. Like, it's a little more volatile. I get it. Certain people that are of certain political persuasions don't like it and whatever. I don't really care about any of that. But, like, I just think it's a more fair place to share information.
Well, and I like that it's limited. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you actually have to be somewhat creative with whatever you're going to do. Like, it requires some thought before you just put whatever out into the metaverse or whatever it is.
Instagram is good if you just like looking at photos. Facebook is good if you like having communities and you have the time for it. I personally, we have the Bones fan club on Facebook. I don't interact there as much as I should be, and I feel bad that I don't. But quite frankly, a lot of times there's nothing new for me to put into that conversation, right? So it's a lot of guys just want to interact with other guys that have collections of bones and they want to talk and speak amongst themselves. And that's what it's there for. It's not my group. It just happens to carry the brand name. I don't know why this keeps turning on. So I interact there as much as I can, but it's usually like, hey guys, go to the website, or hey guys, do this, or whatever. Like, I got this up. I mark it there. But other than that, dude, I would seriously close down Facebook, because all I see is a lot of poisonous posts, a lot of like angry people talking about things that I don't really find relevance in. And then like a lot of just ads. Like, it's just, and they're garbage ads. They're not even like good targeted ads. Like, Facebook they have a great algorithm for ad revenue for the people advertising, but the people that are consuming the ad content, a lot of it is crap. Like, a lot of it's stupid stuff. Maybe that's just my feed. I don't know. But Twitter's actually got some pretty decent ads. Like, they're like, oh yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah. They keep sending me the same shit though. Like, I don't need lab created diamonds, Twitter. Like, I don't care about that.
So, Stefan, what's your experience been with posting on social media? Like, has that been one of the most, I guess, has that been the best way to get your voice out there, to get your work out there as a new guy?
Yes. I mean, for sure. And it's been cool to watch it kind of grow, like the interaction grow to some degree, like, I think like a good, for me where I'm at, like, it's, if there can be around like 180 to like 200 likes, like, that's a good post for me. Yeah. And it generally seems like it creates some new interest every time. Like pretty much if I post, I'm going to get like 4 or 5 new followers or something like that, which is encouraging. I'm really bad about like following people back. I try and be really on it, but it just gets out of hand. But yeah, man, I mean, that's been great. I find too that like if I post, I really have to be mindful, like keep posting for that to grow though, because like if I let it go for like a week, which is my tendency, like I would rather not. I just like to be in the moment. When I'm in the shop, like I don't want to be thinking about Instagram or anything else. Just like I have something in mind, I want to get it done. And
did you know you can schedule posts?
I need to do that. Like, but I don't even think to take pictures and things. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
I don't either.
Like,
that's one thing that a lot of new guys can really benefit from is, it can get in the way of your process. But if you're trying to grow your social media for pipe making, take pictures along the way, and then just take a day or an evening and make a post of, okay, here's the first part of this pipe. I've got my briar picked out, my rod stock, whatever. Just post that. And then make like 2 or 3 more posts throughout that progress, but then schedule those all on the same day. So then you do your social media once a week, and then it just automatically populates for you later. And then you just do it again the next week. And then it takes some planning, but I started doing that, and it really made a big difference in how consistently I posted.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that sounds amazing. I hope one day I could do that.
I can't do it. Sean did it, and I was just like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm gonna post.
It was
some
annoying
shit when
at first.
I'm gonna post some shit when it's available. I'm not doing all like no, sorry. Like, I would rather do lives. Like I haven't started doing those again. I used to do Periscope. I used to do the Facebook lives and stuff like that. Yeah. And now I'm like, I don't really want. Like, I'm cool having an audience, but I also kind of don't want to do that. Like, I kind of just want to make my stuff and like be in my zone, listen to music, because I can't listen to music while I'm doing the lives. So that throws me off. Like, I can't, it removes the part of that flow state that I need to do what I do. Yeah. Right. So like a good example is I was working on something recently, and there's only like 4 or 5 people that have seen this pipe finished. And I was working on it, I was like, there's no way, like looking at this thing, there's no way I could have finished this showing other people while I was working on it. It's just, this is a pipe that I drilled 10 years ago. I drilled this 10 years ago, and I could not for the life of me figure out how to finish it. So essentially you've got a vertical RC chamber, and then here behind this ebonite, I don't think it's gonna, oh, there you go. Behind that, there's an airway that goes into the bolt.
It's all Cumberland too.
I had to figure out how to put, I've got ash on my finger there. I had to figure out how to put that ring in properly and to seat it so that I could get the stem, which is a tapered military mount. So it would just, it's so perfectly machined. You really have to find the right angle, and then it just pops in.
That's crazy.
And that is so it's tapered, so that will over time. Oh, see, I didn't get it all the way in. Over time, there, you can still keep forcing it down, and it'll seat. It won't loosen up over time. Yeah, it'll still stay tight. And then there's your chamber and
Crazy
the bird's eye
on that thing.
Absolutely nuts bird's eye. Oh, the AI, nuts, dude.
Stop
with the AI.
It's just gonna be looking at your face on there, so you got to block your face. Yeah, look at that,
man. That's insane.
So, Stefan, looking at this, being somebody who's been making pipes 3
and
or
4
it's available 5 years now.
It's available. Of now, it's available. It's expensive, but it's also a carat grade, and it's among the top of the carat grades. So 1% of 1%. Okay, carry
on. So when you first started making pipes, did you have a vision of wanting to make stuff like that? or did you want to go more towards classics? And maybe what was some advice that you heard in the beginning, one way or the other? And how did that benefit you?
That's a great question, man. The beyond just like the original idea of like, I would like to try and make a pipe, right? There's kind of two things that really influenced me. And I got to get it because I have it right here in this cabinet.
Yeah, bring it.
I think I've done a lot of thinking about this. I tend to make smaller stuff. Like that's a
It's a beautiful.
That's the kind of size that I like right there. And
it's got some Steve Liskey vibes.
Fun little bamboo poker vibe, just all that stuff. I love that. I love small pipes. I rarely make like this on the bench here. This is huge for me. I don't normally make something that big. Like this, just a bigger bowl to me. It just feels out. And but I mean, good, but you know, it's not my natural thing. And I've been wondering why I lean that way. I've always leaned that way. And if you've listened to any of the other podcasts I've been on, I've always told the story of finding a pipe in the wall of my first house when I was like a kid. My dad like pulled off a piece of the wood, and there's like on the like whatever the bones are, the structure behind the sheetrock. There was just this little Wally Frank Congo.
That pipe?
Yes.
So
dude,
cool.
This is the pipe.
So badass.
How cool. And so imagine you're like 4 years old and you see this. It's like, dude, so this is like pirate treasure.
That's got to be one of the first like walrus pipes, dude.
Yeah. How cool is that pipe?
Yeah.
I have plans to try and make a replica.
So the whole thing briar?
The whole thing is briar, yeah.
That's so freaking awesome.
Yeah. It is awesome. And
you found that when you were 4? Is that what you said?
Yeah, they found it. Like I remember being like the basement was unfinished. I remember like sitting in the dirt. I had like my G.I. Joe guys, and I was like playing with them in the dirt.
Wow.
And this is like just on the rafter. And it's been and so like cool. Growing up, it was always like on the bookshelf. My parents don't smoke or do anything like that, but this always just kind of sat on some books and would be there. And I would always pick it up as a kid and go and just like feel it.
The fact that stuck around all that time is really rare. Like, that's freaking cool, man. That was like so setting up your future as a pipe maker, just having that around.
Mm-hmm.
So I really do think that this influenced a lot for me.
Yeah.
And then when I first started the journey of trying to like just discover more about pipes, learn more than I knew, when I first decided I wanted to try and make some, Former Makes a Billiard, that YouTube video, that was like, I watched that
video to watch.
It's magical, man. That's the word I would use, like magical. Like, I've watched that video probably hundreds of times because I'm always just like, and I'll pause and watch little pieces or try and catch a glimpse of something in his workshop and just all in all, I mean, it's shot beautifully, but like those two things kind of anchored what I really love, So I think that's
awesome.
Yeah. And the as far as the advice goes, like you and other people as well, always like, man, focus on trying to make classics. Like the rules are in the classics and you can learn them and that's not going to be everyone's stick.
Yeah.
Like I know that I studied, went to Huber's shop, and he's like, I don't actually know that that's like the way that I came into it. He's like, I always just kind of saw like more, abstract freeform shaping, and that was like that drove me.
Yeah.
And so like I'm not saying that that's everyone's way to do it, but for me it made a lot of sense. I learned a lot about just like the rules and like what looks right in proportions. Yeah, that balance of like harmony, balance, and proportion. Just like those things. The classics teach you that. I mean, I think so.
I think so too. I suggest most new carvers, unless you've just got like unless you've got an eye for it, and then you're able to make that with your
or like
hands.
a weird style. If you just have naturally a weird style, like Brighton De Los Santos, like Brighton James, he's got a unique style, and that's what he does. And honestly, I wouldn't want like a straight billiard from him anyway.
Right.
Like I would want something cool because he comes out a certain way. Same thing with Brian Orton. Like he has a specific, shtick. If you were to get something from Talbert, like I don't want something basic from Talbert. I want like a Halloween pipe. It's. I think
one of
there
his,
are people that
pipes.
Well, that's how I used to break it down into two areas. So like there would be artists, which is I consider myself more of an artist when it comes to pipes, and there would be like craftsmen, which at the time was like Mark Balkovic. Like that's when I kind of coined the phrase, was like he constructs pipes, he makes pipes. I make art, but you can smoke it. And I'm not like one or the other is not better. In fact, generally craftsmen make more money than artists do.
Consistently anyway.
Which I think is more what Sean does. Like Sean is more of a craftsman when it comes to pipes. Like it's the functionality of the object primarily. And you just have to decide which one you are. Like I can do classic shapes. I don't like doing them, so I don't really do them that often if I can help it. Or I'll do a classic, but I'll do it my way. And someone will look at it and be like, that's not a proper brandy. And I'm like, well, I don't give two shits. Like this is what I felt like making.
Yeah.
And you have to decide who you are going to be in that moment, I guess.
Yeah.
Or don't decide that.
Or
just
don't
make what you want to make.
Yeah.
Listen to your audience, and if your audience likes things a little more classic from you, cool. If they like you making stuff that's a little more funky, then that's great too.
Yeah.
So, Stefan, I know you came to visit me here in Montana.
Say hi.
Hey,
all
buddy.
Right. I'm on a call real quick, okay? I'll come see you in a little bit. Okay? I love you.
I got to purge the air compressor. You guys keep talking. This thing's whistling in my ear. It's driving me nuts.
Okay. We can't hear, but that's cool. So, Stefan, let's talk about your experience coming to visit me. And, gosh, you stayed at my house for like what? Oh, 5 days? 6 3 days.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. It felt like 15. No, I'm just kidding.
Three magical
You're welcome
days.
back, whatever. So that was your first... Oh, air compressor. All right, let's take an intermission.
Let's go!
Just let that thing loose, Chris.
Was that loud?
It's fine.
It was driving me nuts, dude. It's at like a quarter of a PSI, and it's just like, I'm like, knock it off.
That's great. So while you were on your air compressor intermission, I asked Stefan what his experience was coming to visit me, because you were in my shop for 3 days.
Yeah,
that's too long.
No, it was cool.
It was
awesome, dude. We went to Glacier one day. It was great.
I'm just saying that's too long to hang around with Sean.
You've never done it.
That's fair.
Not when Sean busts out the Blackstone griddle and cooks bacon, like with freaking Glacier National Park in the distance. Like it's kind of like,
is
I'm
pretty
all right.
dope.
It was pretty good.
It doesn't get better than that.
Sweet.
I'm like,
and then Stefan made
bacon?
the most amazing freaking spaghetti I've ever had.
What's your secret? Since this is also a food channel, what is it that makes your spaghetti awesome?
Man, I'll say I'm really partial to red wine and goat cheese mixed in
as a thickener.
Yes,
that's legit.
There's bell pepper.
Yeah,
I remember there's red bell pepper.
And then red bell peppers diced up in there. I've added to the process. Now I don't like to just do ground beef. I like to also take like spicy Italian sausage. And do like a 2-to-1 spicy Italian sausage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
So it's kind of like an arrabbiata at that point. It's a little more,
or
good. like a bolognese arrabbiata kind of thing. Because we started doing bolognese. Like I would always do like these straight tomato based sauces, and then I can't eat cooked tomatoes. Like I have, like it causes just like lava stomach. Right, I just can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife was like, "Why aren't we doing bolognese?" I'm like, what's in that?" I'm not really that Italian. Like I'm Spanish and Irish. So it's like the stuff that I eat generally, like like in my family has not really ever been Italian food. And she made it, and I was like, wait, this is basically like a cream sauce. Like this is like what you would do like a baked rig with, and it's legit. Like there's like carrots and celery, and like it looks like it's almost like an Italian chili in a sense. And you're like, I could eat this. Like that's totally fine. Oh, it's so freaking good.
Would the green chilies work?
Ooh,
I don't know. Probably. I don't. I've tried putting these. I put these in eggs one time because like I do like the, the biggie breakfast, like the cheese, eggs, and Welch's grape.
Let's go.
But
conversate for a few, because in
hell yeah, dude. Like, and I do the cheese eggs, so like I'll do a little bit of sour cream, like just like a teaspoon of sour cream, a handful like shredded cheddar, and like 4 eggs, and I'll just whip that up as much as I can, and then that's my scrambled eggs usually. I don't like just eggs. Like I gotta have cheese and stuff with it. And I put in the chilies with it. I was like, it's not. It's more like wet. It just makes it wet. It's not as satisfying flavor wise. So I started just putting it on after cold and throw a little ketchup in there. Like that's where it's at. But I mean, I ate half of this jar literally in the past 24 hours. Like jeez, I've just been putting it on fucking everything.
Dude, bro, the first I'm sad to like admit it, but the first time I had chilies on my burgers ever was at In-N-Out in Vegas this past year. Yeah. This is my first In-N-Out experience. And since then, that's all I want to do. And that's the first thing I thought of when you held that jar up. I was like, I want to smash those into a hamburger.
And the shaking, dude. It's the shaking. Oh. Like, I don't know what that is. It's such a stupid thing, but you're just like, and then the double bite, like it's such a weird, I don't know. Maybe it's just a guy thing. But another way you can do it, and we do this kind of a lot here, is you take just poblano, or no, they're not poblano, they're ancho chilies, like fresh. The fresh is ancho, the dried is poblano, I think it is. Whichever, they're interchangeable. And you just take that and you just pop it on a grill. Like it could be on the stove. You could literally just put it on like your stovetop and just blacken it. And then you rip it open, wash it off, like to get the skin off and everything. You just throw that whole thing on a burger, like the whole thing, and you just eat the burger. And that's got a little more heat than Hatch chilies, I find. It's a little darker, richer of a flavor, but dude, chilies on a burger is the way to do it.
Oh God, it is, dude. It really is.
Yeah. Okay, I can't talk about food anymore, dude. I forgot like to eat lunch.
Oh yeah, you're hungry now.
I'm so hungry. I told Sean, I was going out to the post office. I was like, I'm gonna go ship. I'm gonna come back. And I'm gonna slam I'm gonna make some ramen with some chicken, like just like a quick whip up, garbage plate, and then I'm gonna do the podcast. And I got stopped by my neighbor, and we were talking about he's a pediatric surgeon. We were talking about all kinds of medical stuff, and I got we just like get carried away, and I was like, Sean's like, yo, podcast in 20 minutes. I'm downtown. I'm like, oh shit. Like, I'm fucking hungry, man. I need to eat something.
We'll talk about pipe making, so we stop talking about food.
Let's talk about pipes.
Yeah. So anyway, Stefan came here, flew all the way from Georgia, and spent 3 days making pipes with me. How important was that as a new pipe maker for you? And do you suggest that most new pipe makers need to do that? Or like how much, not tooting my own horn here, but how much did you benefit from that?
Oh man, I will just say, like, I won't say that anybody has to or needs to do anything, because everybody's got their own process. But I will say for me, man, dude, it was night and day, like returning home from your shop. Before your shop, I had not, or I had maybe just started trying to make my own stems, and they were brutal, comparatively. Coming back, man, like just like I think instruction is amazing. It's amazing to make something alongside somebody, but also like, and I've studied, and I've visited your shop, I've visited Huber's, and visited Nate King's shop and hung out. And all wonderful people, all vastly different pipe makers. And one of the most fun things about going and visiting, especially as a young carver, someone who's trying to learn, like you see what's in their shop and like the way that they use and approach tools. And everyone's so different, man. It's just like you can catch your style, or you can be like, I don't know that would actually work for me, but it gets your brain thinking, how would I do that? Because that's effective. Like you can see it, you know? And then of course there's always like the really like just kind of like on the nose things that you're going to take away. Like anytime somebody, like you go to a shop and you spend time with somebody and they're willing to impart a piece of their brain to you, something that they spent years learning so that you could learn in it in a day. Like, dude, that's invaluable, you know? And I mean, yeah,
I'm a really hands-on learner. So I have to learn that way. Like I've got to do something and then be able to compare it with something else. Otherwise, it's just all in theory.
There's sort of an osmotic reaction though that happens when you are around someone that is an expert at what they do. Like, you know, you the mannerisms, like the muscle memory, you do kind of absorb some of that when you see. Right. Now there are situations where you're just like dumbfounded by like how second nature someone can do something by. But if you like just stems, I know I've had several people in my shop where they'll come in and their pipes are relatively poor quality, rudimentary, like certain things you're just like, how are you not doing it better than this, you know? From my perspective. And then they're like, oh, I was doing that totally the wrong way, you know, like it's like a total Samsonite moment, and they're like, you know, and then they just end up walking away doing that thing. Now it can actually go overboard in some circumstances where a maker is already pretty good, but then goes and visits someone who has like a process, and they come away with that person's aesthetic also, which I think is no good. Like, don't like, if you're going to work with someone, especially people that charge, like there are pipe makers that charge to give you a lesson. Don't take their aesthetic with you. Like, apply those skills to your own aesthetic, and you'll be much more it'll be far more advantageous to your career.
Yes,
because there are some guys where you're like, you went and saw this guy and now your pipes look like his pipes, and that's kind of boring. You're good,
you paid to change your aesthetic, not learn how to make yours better.
Exactly. You put a mask on, essentially. Now you just look like that guy.
I think one of the biggest things that I try to teach people is the importance of order of operations, because you could be doing something correctly, but then if you change the order of operations of how you got there, you might be able to do it way more efficiently, which is going to allow you the time to really hone in that skill.
Yeah. Well, and you can make it more profitable. That's ultimately like Stefan, your level, I'm assuming, where it's like, now we got to make sure it's profitable, you know?
Yes.
And to keep your interest, to keep, you know, your family's interest. Like your wife could be like, yo, what are you doing down there? Like for 6 hours a day, like this isn't generating income. That does play into things once it becomes more than just like a fun thing you do.
Yes.
So
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, it's funny. I was just talking to my buddy Kevin Foster, who's another great pipe maker, about this today. It's like we're in this weird place as makers where it's like we're like kind of like 4 years in, and like we're at this place where our price point is still fairly low, but our pipes are nice enough to where people expect all of the really nice things that come along with a nice pipe. But you can't like ask the things to make that price point easy, you know, to like appease them. And it's tough, dude. Like I mean, all the way down to just like the bags you're using, you know, like even that, like, and it's like, man, it's so funny. I don't use pipe socks at all, but I have spent all day today, like laboring on the idea of like, how do I balance the cost and the quality of like my pipe bag, like, which is like a weird, it's just weird to walk around and that be like part of my day to day. But like,
I still do it.
Especially considering nobody keeps them for the most part.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know a single person that, like, everybody really likes my pipe bags, they still
they're handmade though. They're handmade.
Well, yeah, but they still get thrown in a box or a drawer. At the end of the day, like, it's cool presentation when you first open it. It's like, ooh and ah, this is a nice pipe sock, and then I never see it again.
I can't name anything that I have that's like $300 or $400 that has $10 worth of packaging, or $12 or $15 worth of packaging. I can't think of anything else. Like, what else? Like, yeah, and yes, it's kind of like a value add. It's like, if you buy a nice suit, you have a suit bag to go with the suit, I guess. It's something like that. Like, you kind of need it. But
if you got a $500 knife, you don't have $10 worth of packaging there.
No, it comes in a little box just like everything else does, and you throw away the box and now you have the knife. That's always been a trouble for me, because I have had multiple different bag manufacturers over the years, and it's all been inter-industry type guys that do this just for pipes. And the most recent, I kind of realized, I was like, it's whatever. I'm just going to do this. And you burn through them faster than you think.
Yeah.
I mean, I went through already, like last year, I think I burned through legitimately like 80 bags. That's $800 worth of leather bags. This year is probably going to be a little less, but who knows? Like, I've already burned through 7, in not as many weeks, so, I forget what my point was exactly, but the bags are kind of a pain in the ass. Oh, what you were saying, Howie, like you're too big to be small and you're too small to be big.
Yes.
I have bad news for you. I'm still there. Like, it never goes away. And unless you somehow like saved a baby from a burning building or something, and they happen to know that you made pipes and now you're like some god level pipe maker. You're always going to be like, why am I not doing what that guy's doing? And why you'll compare yourself, not on purpose, but you will compare yourself just naturally. Like, man, I wish I could do like consistently $600 pipes and have them consistently sell out. But again, newsflash, no one is having that. No one's pipes are consistently selling 600 and $600 price point, and also then producing 100 pipes a year. No one's doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Chris and I had
go ahead. No, you said.
Chris and I had an episode on tempering expectations a little bit for new pipe people, like trying to get into being a pipe maker. Like, understand that you're not going to get rich off this.
Mm-mm.
And if you are successful, you're either very good, very fast, or your timing was perfect. And it's usually at least a couple of those things in one.
Yeah.
You've got to have understanding that, like, you're probably not going to be the next Tom Elting. It's not likely going to happen. So that's part of being a newer carver.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I also think, like, what are you, I had this thought with music, and it's carried into pipes. It's like, man, what are you doing this for? Because if it's for money, it's gonna eventually just suck. Anyways, it's great if you can make money. Like, you want to do that eventually. Like, I mean, you want something to be profitable. You can't look at your wife and be like, yeah, I'm gone for 8 hours, or I'm gone to a pipe show for 3 or 4 days. Didn't make anything, right? Like, you can't come home with that. That doesn't last long.
$2,500 to get there.
That's right. That doesn't last long. But so to some degree, yes, you need profitability. But, like, man, if that's why you start this process, that seems really naive. You should be doing this because you love it. And if the other thing comes, then huzzah.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of new guys who are just starting out, and they're just like, oh man, I'm going to try and sell this pipe for $300. Like, yeah, be like 90 and then do that for a year or two and see how it goes. Because if you're getting into it because you want to make a bunch of money, that's the wrong motivation for starting a career as a pipe maker. Do it 100%. Because you love pipes. Do it because 100%. You want to provide something that somebody else is going to cherish for the next 20 years and maybe pass down to their kids.
Yeah.
And then learn how to make a pipe that would actually last that long too. Not just aesthetically for the first couple of years, but, is that going to last generations and be worthy of getting re-stemmed at some point?
Right. Yeah, man, and I think that's another, like, interesting thing to think about. It's like, price point, right? That's a whole other thing. As a young maker, like if you're trying to if you're out for money and you accidentally price yourself way too high and somebody actually goes for that, bro, that's a scary place to be, man. You can't back off, and your pipes aren't worth what you're charging for. It's that balance.
You better get good fast.
yeah. I go with fear and trembling. Anytime I increase my price point, it's
it should be incremental. I mean, I've seen some really brutal situations happen where someone has a retailer that really likes their stuff, and they think, oh, your pipes they have a really good couple of months. Maybe it's like during like a show, like they sell out. Maybe they have a particular shape that they just do really well, and they had a bunch of those at the show, and people are like, oh, that's so awesome. Maybe it's a little bit trendy or whatever. And the retailer will pick them up, be like, hey kid, you could be getting double for this, and they'll kind of give you that wheelie dealy sort of car salesman thing. And then they jack your prices up. And then you're like, wait a second, I'm way up here now. Anyone want some pipes? And everyone was like, no, I don't have $800, bro. Sorry. Like I was down when you were $350.
Yeah.
But,
and the people up at the $800 price point that are buyers don't know who the heck you are.
That's right. The other part is the camaraderie gets a little weird up there because for a good time, I mean, I had pipes that were very regularly selling for a few thousand. And it's super competitive, and it's brutal. Like there's always the shit talking, and some of the guys are friends. Like I was friends with some of the guys when I was selling for higher prices, but it's so, I don't know. It's high schoolish at that point. Like no one can just exist. You can't just be like, I make some pipes, you make some pipes. Cool. We're pipe guys. It's like, I heard that guy uses this particular almond shell oil and that's carcinogenic, or like there's all these weird little things that happen and people are like, there's a lot of smoke being blown, no pun intended. There's a lot of people that will talk shit. And I mean, at the end of the day, like I'm actually really happy with where I'm at now. I think Stefan, where you're at is like a great level to be at. Like I would stay at that spot as long as you can and just get incrementally better. And then when you feel like, hey, I'm going to bump this up $20 because it has an exceptional grain pattern, do that. If you can afford to do that, do it that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you have music. You have other stuff to do.
You don't want to shock your clientele.
That's been great. Yeah, 100%. I agree with all of that. Like I actually am really, really happy with where I've landed, and it feels like home for a good long while. It just it makes sense. It doesn't feel crazy. Sorry, my kids are playing Legos. Let me close the door.
No, do your thing. It doesn't
it's
matter.
all good.
We don't care.
Yeah, we all are pipe makers who have kids, and there's distractions. It's just the way it is.
It's the way it goes.
It's owning your own business.
I would like to paint. I want to paint a mural on Stefan's wall. Like I feel like it's just.
Please, it's the saddest wall,
dude. We need to put something cool on there. Like, do you have like a local artist that you can just give them a pipe and they can come in and do something on there?
That honestly would be amazingly cool, and
that'd be
I've never
such
even
a cool
thought about
place
that.
to put stuff.
We're gonna have Stefan laying on a velvet pillow, naked. Of some
over here on this part of the wall, though,
just
I do
with
have
your shop apron on.
Meanwhile,
I love my shop apron, but I look nerdy, dude. My goggles are such garbage, just like.
That's funny,
dude. Meanwhile, on the right side of me, there's a picture that I found in my grandpa's truck from like a carnival. It's like the 1972 Playboy cover. Or something.
That's kind of awesome, though.
It's cool. It rotted to the glass because it'd been in there, just like the paper's disintegrated, so it's just the ink stuck to the glass. But I hung it up because I thought it was fun. But that was the times.
Oh man,
that was the time.
So Stefan, I know you got to get going. Before you do, if you could give a new pipe maker advice, if somebody was just starting for the first time, or let's say they're a couple years in and they're kind of struggling, what would you say to get them over the hump of, I guess, the confidence to really, I guess, express themselves with the pipes, but also appease the audience that we all know? Like, what would be, from your perspective as a new-ish but successful carver?
Try and hold as many nice pipes as you can. If you see somebody who has a nice collection and they're willing to share it with you, or if you can, go online and pour over. The amount of times I've gone and like tried to find old like pipe dance shapes and like zoomed them up to life size to like try and like get a glimpse. Like the more you can study those things, the better it's going to be. I think just being able to see what's possible is a really powerful thing. And then the other thing is, man, kindness always wins out. So if you'll show up, if you'll be humble and you'll be kind and you will love people in the process, then I think the sky's the limit.
Yeah. You got to go with the roadhouse mentality. Be nice. Be nice when they're mean. Be nice. Be nice until it's time to not be nice.
Yeah. I like that.
Roadhouse.
Yeah. Chris, do you got any parting words of wisdom for new pipe makers?
Me?
Yeah.
Shit. I think patience. Patience, and like we talked about this when Yoni was on, like he was worried about presenting himself as a tenured knife maker because of how he presented himself as a rookie pipe maker. And I think there are a lot of guys, it's less common now. Knife maker. It's a lot less common now, but there was a time when like a lot of people were really cocky, and there's still guys that are still kind of cocky, and they're like, yeah, my shit doesn't stink. And you suck. First off, like you suck for like 3 years. Most pipe makers, like even if you think that you're killing it, you kind of still suck. And you suck because you haven't, it's not because of what you are making. It's because you haven't messed up enough to know that you actually do suck in the moment. Like when you get to a point where your muscle memory and your thought process is so finely tuned to present good, I hate to use the word engineering, but the good machining technique, good shaping technique, good aesthetic, good finishing, but then also still think you suck, that's when you're in the right place. Because, I've gone through that whole process. There's that parabolic thing that you go through where the very best pieces that you make, you think suck about halfway through. And it's your lizard brain doubting you. Like you're kind of like, well, I don't know about this, but your muscle memory and like your conscious efforts will pull through usually and make that into something, or it may not, but more often than not, like, you're in the zone when you get to that phase, when you start questioning what you're doing with your life. And I say that sort of jokingly, but it's also sort of real. But patience, like you're gonna suck. And that's why we have told people repeatedly, like, should you become a full-time pipe maker? No, don't do it. The whole phrase of full-time pipe maker, it puts too much pressure on you. Definitely don't go to like your wife and say, hey, guess what, honey? I'm out of the banking business. I'm going to make pipes now. Don't do that. That's so stupid. Do it on a Saturday night once a week. Take a month to make a pipe. Take 2 months to make a pipe.
Yes.
And maybe sell it to a homie for super cheap. Be like, yo, buy me a box of cigars. I'll trade you for this pipe. Make it so simple to just get really good by getting all like your mistakes out of your system, because you're going to burn through a fascinatingly large amount of briar. Like you'll, if I look back, I have literally killed thousands of dollars worth of briar in my career. And that makes me sad, but that's the price you have to pay to get to a certain point to where you don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Patience.
Yep. Yeah. I would say figure out your order of operations, doing things in the correct order that makes sense for your workflow, and then maybe question that against, ask some other makers. I mean, Stefan, I'm sure you can attest to this, that for the most part, all of us are pretty chill. Yeah. And if you ask questions and you're, really humble about it, a lot of guys are going to at least say, well, hey, have you ever thought about doing it this way or in this different order instead? Because it just makes more sense. And a lot of people don't do that, I think. I think a lot of new guys are just like, well, I have to make this pipe. And they're just like hitting their head against the wall about, well, I got to do this now. It's like, take a step back. If you're having a bad day and you're struggling with the pipe,
leave.
Give it a day or two.
Leave.
Yeah, give it a day or two.
Yeah.
Don't struggle to make the pipe. Otherwise, you're not, like, you got to be really zen with it. You got to go with the flow. And that's what's going to create the best pipe you can.
Dude, not to keep this going, but like, I think yes, time is like that's such an important thing. Like, give yourself the privilege of time, like in your work. Like, no one's waiting for your next thing to drop. Like, do it. Take your time. When I was in Vegas this past year, actually, was talking with Chris Asterio, and he told me something that just, like, I don't think I'd ever really thought about it in this way, but it was so good, you know. He was just like, if there's one, if you have an idea for your goal, like, I'm going to bring 8 pipes to this show, or I'm going to do the whatever. He's like, if you look at those, in a single one of them, there is one thing that you are like, I don't think I'm fully satisfied with this, or like, I'm not happy with this. Don't do it. Don't sell it. He's like, it's going to haunt you.
Yeah.
For the rest, for the rest of your days if you sell it. But as a young guy, you're like, I don't have that much briar. Like, I made this thing and I got to go with it. Or like, I've got, I used my one piece of nice horn on this, or like whatever the case may be. Right. And it's like, I've got to do it. Like, sure, the finish wasn't shined up like I wanted it to be, but like, this is the coolest pipe I've made so far. It's like, nah, dude, don't sell that thing, man. Like, either work on it. I
don't think people should sell their first like 50 or 60 pipes. I think those should be given away or kept.
I've got one of those in the wild right now that is still haunting me, and I can't even afford to bury it. That's the worst part. Like, there was one that someone traded in. It was a commission, I think. Maybe it wasn't a commission. It was something that sold a long time ago. It has like an okay hand cut stem. It was one of the first hand cut stems. But for whatever reason, and it might have been my fault. It might have been someone over drilling it. I don't know, like, to open it up. I doubt it. I was probably me. But it has, like, the airway is just no good. Like, it goes through and it kind of touches the other side of the bowl, and it's a little low. And I saw it, and I was like, it was on a website as an estate, unsmoked. And I have to see it. And the price on it is so freaking high. Like, it's like $650 or something. And I'm like, I appreciate that you're keeping my prices high, but I'm also, that pipe is maybe a $200 pipe tops, and it could be modified. You could fix it super easy. Just open up, like, just drop the chamber down like a millimeter or two, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
But every time I see it, I'm like, damn, and it's not like I can bury it. Like, if it's cheap enough, like, you could technically just buy me, get over here and put it in your pocket, and then no one sees it ever again. But, put out the very best you're capable of. And that's kind of why I was saying, like, don't make it a money thing. In fact, make sure that you have funding to do this, to where you can kind of not care about it, because you're going to burn a lot of material. You're going to mess up, and you don't want that savings of $20 to be the reason that you put out something that's crappy.
Yeah.
So you almost have to have a feeder income to do this, really, unless you work with someone like if you came to work with or apprentice for another pipe maker, like, say you live nearby someone and you're just like, yo, I'm going to be over there every Saturday. I want you to teach me everything. I'll sweep your shop. I'll help you finish whatever. And you have like a nice arrangement. You're going to probably jump ahead. You're going to skip all the bullshit that you would have to learn on your own.
Yeah.
And real quick, also touching back on, like, another good thing, and this is something that I've had to deal with in the past on both sides of the equation, is don't ask another pipe maker. Like, think about, like, hey, that looks like a super secret part of what he does. It looks really cool, and it's probably like what makes his pipes unique. Don't ask the guy what it is that he uses for that, unless you have called him and had a conversation and shared fart jokes and, like, asked about his kids and know his wife's name, and maybe you have some sort of rapport with this person. Like, Sean and I don't have secrets. We can share whatever, like, yo, I figured out this new way to do this. That's different. We would probably do the same thing with a lot of other guys, but I have a lot of people like, what's that oil you're putting on there? What is that? And you're like, don't worry about it.
Who are you?
I don't even know who you are. Like that. Don't worry about what it is that I'm putting on my pipes to make them the way they look. Or like, what kind of I don't even want to use the sandblasting media thing because it's like there's only a handful of them that actually work well. But like, the sandblasting media, it's like, you don't even like my posts, dude. Like, I don't know.
Have you bought a pipe for me?
Figure it out for yourself, or it's just like there's that. You don't go to a magician and be like, yo, show me how you do this trick. He's going to tell you to fuck off. Like, you need to know the person if you want the secrets. You need to actually, you know what I mean? Like, you guys
be friendly, be kind.
Yeah, be cool,
be
but
a community member.
Also, there's secrets. There's a certain level of smoke and mirrors to any industry, and there's certain levels of panache that we have to factor into what we do, because if you knew everything, the magic would be gone, right? So
yeah. So Stefan, where can people find you if they want to see your work on Instagram and Facebook? Where do we look?
Cashwell_pipes on Instagram's best place to look at my work. Come see me at shows. I'll be at Muletown. I'll be in Chicago. I'll be in Vegas. I'd love to talk to you. Love to meet you in person.
Yeah,
I love people. So come
he's
on,
a nice
stop
guy.
by. Don't be scared.
He's a friendly guy.
Are you open to commissions?
I am. I don't really go around advertising it because I do work in other jobs. So I take the time that I take and make the pipes I make, and I bring them to shows. And I'm still trying to grow and increase, and that's my main focus, not to appease a bunch of commissions. But if you want to commission a pipe from me, you're more than welcome to reach out, and I'm happy to do it. So
cool. But let him make what he wants to make. Pick a shape and the stem color, and then leave the rest to him.
Yeah, no details.
Thank you.
That gets you the best pipe with any maker.
I'm telling you, dude.
Any maker, you're going to get
Brad
the best
was the same way. Brad was like, don't tell me what size it needs to, although he does like doing that kind of stuff, but it's like, no.
Brad Pullman. Just let him do it. Let him make what he wants to make.
Dude, it's like the same thing, man. So I run a corporate band, and you get in there and, you've done at this point, I think I've done over 1,000 weddings, right? And it's just so funny because they get in there and it's their first wedding, and they know how they want it to go. And you're like, I can tell you right now, this is going to be horrible.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like,
not going to be.
You don't know how ugly this pipe is going to be if I make it to the measurements that you're asking for right now.
Yeah.
Stefan, I need you to be Steve Aoki for my wedding. I don't want yours. Done. All your stuff. I want you to be Steve Aoki. That's how ridiculous it is to say I want you to make this pipe exactly the same way.
Yes.
I want AC/DC, but only played with violins.
That's God,
and since it's a corporate band, you have to wear suits the whole time.
And you have to wear a suit. Yeah. And it's going to be 100 degrees, and it's going to be outside, no tent.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
No,
all right, guys. Thank you very much for listening. This has been another exciting episode of Beyond the Pipe. Stefan, thank you very much for being on here. If anybody did not know this, Stefan is actually the musical voice of our intro on the podcast.
True.
So I don't know if we're going to have music for the YouTube version of this or not, but go and listen to the other podcast. You got a lot of episodes to catch up on.
Yeah.
If you got any questions, email us at beyondthepipe1@gmail.com. Or if you're interested in pipes from Chris or Stefan or myself, you can message all of us on Facebook or Instagram. I think we're all pretty easy to get a hold of. So
also morganpipes.com
and morganpipes.com. All right, later.
Guys.
Y'all take care.